So I know this is sort of off-brand for us here at Key Issues, and I wasn't really planning on making this video, but I've been power scaling Star Wars in my free time just for fun, and I figure what's the harm if I share my thoughts with you guys. And I mean, there are hundreds of canon Star Wars comics, and not to brag, but I've read most of them over the past couple months to catch up on everything canon in Star Wars, so I believe this list should be pretty accurate. I do want to let everyone know before we start, there will be a lot of Jedi and Sith missing from this list, and if one of your favorites is missing or lower than you think they should be, remember this is canon, and there is a lot less information about some of the more obscure Jedi and Sith, so characters like Darth Bane, Plo Koon, etc. will be missing due to that. One last thing before I get to the list, this is like the 23rd version of the list that I've made, and I could end up changing my mind tomorrow if I find some more information on any specific character. If you do disagree with anything on the list, remember this is my opinion, and I'm not personally attacking you with the list, so if you disagree, let me know why, instead of just disliking because your feelings are hurt by my opinion on fictional space samurai. With all that said, let's start here at the bottom with Jocasta Nu. So Jocasta Nu is a Jedi Master, and you'd think she'd be pretty powerful based on that, right? Well, she's not. We've seen Jocasta fight twice in canon. Once in the 2017 Darth Vader run, she loses to Darth Vader, which of course she does. And in the same run, she also loses to the Grand Inquisitor, a character who, spoiler alert, won't be very high on this list. Not only does she lose both of her fights, the Grand Inquisitor believes she's not even worth the effort, and Darth Sidious says this about her, quote, "She is ancient, middling in the Force, and barely competent with a lightsaber." With all of this taken into consideration, there's no way that Jocasta can be ranked any higher than dead last. Just above Jocasta, we have Ezra Bridger himself. Ezra is the main protagonist of the Star Wars Rebels series, and unfortunately for Ezra, he doesn't really have any good showings against anyone or that many impressive feats. He does fight against the Inquisitors a few times, but he doesn't really beat any of them in a duel, and he has some neat statements like he has the potential to become a great Jedi, and Canon notes that Ezra has remarkable strength in the Force, and Ezra's power is growing faster than Canon can teach him. So all of this is pretty cool, and he certainly has the potential to move up if more supplementary material ever comes out about him. Almost all of his impressive feats are done with the help of Canon. The two were able to move asteroids with the Force, push over a distracted Darth Vader, and with the help of Darth Maul, he opens up a Sith temple. While he doesn't straight up lose to anyone except Vader, he doesn't really defeat anyone notable. He's blocked attacks from the Inquisitors, but it's pretty noticeable how far above him they really are. Canon did the best he could to train Ezra, but having never finished training himself, there wasn't much hope for Ezra at all. And the only reason he's going above Jocasta is because Jocasta has actually 0 feats, whereas Ezra does have a couple. The next few entries are all Inquisitors, and really most of them could be flipped around here. They've all been trained by Darth Vader and are pretty relative to one another. The 10th brother was a former Jedi Master before he eventually turned on the Order and challenged Mace Windu to a duel. Mace was trying to convince him to see the error of his ways, but after realizing that he was truly lost, Mace just one-shot him with a Force push. As an Inquisitor, the 10th brother was killed by blaster bolts, which is, in the Star Wars universe, pretty pathetic. The 5th brother just flat out embarrasses himself all the time. 8th brother loses to Canon, but only after being opened up by Darth Maul, so I give him the nod just over the 5th brother and 10th brother. The 9th sister loses to Cal Kestis halfway through his journey and gets overpowered multiple times, and in the comics she doesn't really do anything except get her leg cut off by the 6th brother. The 7th sister is clearly the most powerful of the Inquisitors after the Grand Inquisitor lost to Canon. She's able to briefly hold her own against Ahsoka, but Ahsoka was likely holding back in almost every case. The 2nd sister fights evenly with Jedi Knight Cal Kestis at the end of his journey and does well despite losing. This feat is just flat out better than anything anyone has done against any of the other Jedi Knights. And then the Grand Inquisitor takes the top spot among the Inquisitors. Vader himself notes that he is very skilled, and he only loses to Kanan, who was basically letting the Force take over at that point, as stated by his voice actor, Freddie Prinze Jr. It wasn't Kanan fighting, he was letting the Force control all of his actions. So I really don't count this as a loss, and the Grand Inquisitor did just flat out bully Kanan most of the first season. There are more Inquisitors, but these are the only ones with any notable feats. Up next is Cal Kestis. Having survived Order 66 thanks to his master, he hides out undetected until the Inquisitors come knocking, and then begins his journey alongside BD-1. Cal improves dramatically throughout his journey, defeating 2 Inquisitors and, with the help of a Night Sister, a former Jedi Malicos, and he even briefly fights against Darth Vader. Above Cal, we do have Malicos, and you may be wondering why he's above Cal when Malicos lost to him. Well, you have to keep in mind that Cal was assisted by the Night Sister, and in the databank for Fallen Order, it stated that he would have lost if not for her intervention. Just above Malicos, we have Canon, who is above Cal because he also defeated multiple Inquisitors. He was knighted as well, and he fights most of his battles completely blind. Not to mention that he was able to enter his Force-amped state once again when battling Darth Maul, causing the powerful Sith Lord to stumble and fall. Although this did take a lot out of Kanan to do so. So just overall, Kanan has more experience than Cal. He has better feats fighting against stronger villains. Above Kanan, we have Qui-Gon Jinn, and this is going to be another one that people may get upset with. But remember, Qui-Gon lost to the weakest version of Darth Maul that we've ever seen and couldn't take the advantage of a 2 versus 1 that he had alongside Obi-Wan. Additionally, it is stated that he barely survived his encounter with Maul on Tatooine, and he was visibly exhausted after their brief duel. Qui-Gon is a very wise Jedi, but in combat, he's just not that impressive. Just above Qui-Gon, we have Barriss Offee, who is notable for fighting and defeating Ahsoka, who as a Padawan has impressive feats like fighting General Grievous, defeating Asajj Ventress with the help of Luminara, and more. Barriss also has fought against Anakin Skywalker and didn't lose instantly despite Anakin simply trying to arrest her, not kill her, which did give her a slight advantage. Nonetheless, it's still an impressive duel. Just above her is her Jedi Master, Luminara, who should scale above her apprentice pretty handily. Luminara is able to fight against Ventress while half-blind and stalemates Ventress in the Force. Above her, we have Kanan's former master, Depa Billaba. Held in high regard within the Jedi Order for her skill, she's shown the ability to spar with Obi-Wan and Mace Windu while blindfolded, and even took on General Grievous in a duel. Although she did lose to Grievous, she survived to fight another day. And speaking of the Separatist General, this entry might cause a massive outrage, but here we are, and we have General Grievous. I'm not talking about this Grievous, that guy isn't canon, I'm talking about this guy. And he's just a jobber in the 3D Clone Wars, that's really all that can be said. In nearly every duel with Obi-Wan, he's losing, so he runs. He couldn't defeat Master Adi Gallia. He's losing to the injured Jedi Master Eve Koth and needs help to subdue him. He's getting destroyed by Kit Fisto until he calls in help from his Magna Guards. He loses to Asajj Ventress and needs his droids to save him. He fights Darth Maul and gets casually force-pushed out of the fight. He takes a massive L to a group of Gungans, and of course, he runs from Obi-Wan and Anakin, then finally gets killed by Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith. His only wins are against Ahsoka, who is a Padawan and is still able to escape, and Nadar Veb, who is a Jedi Knight, as well as Depa Billaba, as mentioned earlier. If you want even more proof that General Grievous is just not that great, his reputation in the Jedi Order is that of a coward, stated by multiple Jedi Masters, and Dooku mentions that he expected Grievous to defeat the clones that he sent, as well as the Jedi Knight, but besting a Jedi Master would be a true accomplishment, implying that Grievous has yet to do so, and unfortunately for the quote-unquote legendary Jedi Hunter, he never does kill a Jedi Master. Above Grievous, we have Jedi Master Eve Koth, who, as I said, was weakened and still keeping up with Grievous before he was eventually overwhelmed. Above Eve, we have Asajj Ventress. Ventress is a powerful want-to-be Sith who on multiple occasions fights against Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and even defeats General Grievous. As stated previously, she was beating a half-blind Luminara until Ahsoka showed up. Ventress even fights against the legendary Count Dooku multiple times and survives almost all of their encounters. However, she does eventually die to Dooku's Force Lightning by diving in front of it to save Quinlan Vos, who is next on our list. Quinlan Vos is a very powerful Jedi who has a strong affinity for reading Force echoes, making him a very good tracker, but he's a formidable fighter as well. Quinlan fights against Dooku on multiple occasions, where Asajj Ventress noticed that he was able to cause the legendary Count Dooku to stumble, and Dooku himself is impressed with Vos, saying, quote, "You fight well for a Jedi, Vos." And on one occasion, Quinlan even deflected Dooku's lightning back at him. Quinlan was also able to once defeat the legendary duelist Count Dooku. Quote, "Vos all but danced around Dooku, forcing the older man to whirl, strike, and block from every side, and there it was. Dooku overextended only a trifle, and the next thing Kenobi knew, the Count's lightsaber was across the room, and the Count himself was on his back." Not bad for a Jedi who rarely shows up in any source material. Just above Quinlan Vos, we have Cere Junda, the Jedi Master who accompanies Cal Kestis on his quest during Fallen Order. As we see during the end of the game, Cere easily dispatches every enemy she encounters, and briefly duels with Vader himself, locking him in a lightsaber clash, and then using the Force to completely fold Vader until he eventually overpowers her. Later, she creates a Force barrier that Vader had to work very hard to destroy. Of course, Vader is far above Cere, but these feats from her are very impressive and far above anything anyone below her has ever done. Next we have Kit Fisto, whose most impressive feat is not dying instantly to Darth Sidious, who cut down 2 other high-tier Jedi Masters before they could even react. The champion of the Jedi Order, Mace Windu, states that Kit Fisto's skills with the lightsaber are unrivaled, and of course, this is a little bit of hyperbole, and it's untrue, as there are other Jedi Masters who are much better, including Mace himself, but coming from Mace, that's very high praise. Additionally, Fisto is handling Grievous pretty easily, and then fights multiple Magna Guards and Grievous simultaneously before realizing he is outmatched and flees. Just above Kit Fisto is Savage Opress. Amplified by his mother Talzin, trained by Asajj Ventress, Count Dooku, and Darth Maul, Savage is no joke. In his first on-screen duel, he defeats Jedi Master Halsey with no difficulty and no lightsaber. He then one-shots his Padawan with a Force push. Just for reference, Grievous has never killed a Jedi Master on screen, and even the weakest of the Masters are able to outduel Grievous. Later, Savage is able to overpower Dooku and Asajj Ventress at the same time, kill Jedi Master Adi Gallia in a 1v1, who again Grievous was unable to defeat, and Savage was also able to fight against Obi-Wan and Anakin for an extended period of time, and fight Obi-Wan on multiple occasions. Dooku himself states that Savage is growing stronger each day, and considers him a threat to the Sith and Jedi. Dave Filoni states that he put up a better fight against Sidious than the Jedi Council did, and keep in mind that Savage had almost no Jedi training compared to the Masters that he was fighting against. If he was left alive, then I have no doubt that he and Maul eventually would have been true rivals to Sidious and Vader. Next up, we have Nightfall Anakin, and there's not much to say about this version of Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, however you want to refer to him at this point. He's clearly the weakest version of the character. He stalemates Obi-Wan in the Force and ultimately loses to his former master. Official statements from StarWars.com give us more insight into this version of Anakin. When referencing Episode 4 Vader, quote, "Vader's rage is in check and he's the master of it. Even when confronted by his former master, Obi-Wan Kenobi, he's able to maintain his fury and channel it, not allowing it to get the better of him. During their previous confrontation, Vader was sloppy and his emotions were out of control. because of this, Kenobi won. So there you have it. Anakin was out of his mind at this point. He wasn't thinking clearly, and because of this, he was defeated by Obi-Wan Kenobi. So of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to be above him. Obi-Wan is recognized as one of the most skilled and powerful Jedi in the Order, and his feats show us as much. He's able to defeat General Grievous. He's able to fight Darth Maul and Savage Opress at the same time and defeat them both. And as a Padawan, is able to kill Darth Maul, who is able to defeat Jedi Masters and has crazy feats like fighting a whole horde of Rathtars without a lightsaber. Obi-Wan's defensive style has almost zero flaws, which allows him to punch far above his pay grade the majority of the time. And that's where we're going to stop with this list. There is another part, but we're already 15 minutes in, and we've only done half the list. So I'm going to cut this into 2 videos, and if you're interested in seeing the entire list before the video is up, you can join our Discord. I have the entire list in there. Just at me and ask for it. And if you have any questions or if you have any issues with this, you can leave a comment down below, or you can join the Discord and talk to me directly about the list. I'm happy to do so. I would like to give a huge shout out to Crisis, who edited this video. He does amazing stuff over on his channel. He's been power scaling Batman, the Arkham games recently, and has a whole series of Metal Gear Solid power scaling videos, as well as a bunch of awesome fan edits. So be sure to check out his video. All of that will be linked in the description and of course on this end card. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Remember to like and subscribe. It does really help us out. Also, be sure to join us on Discord. Follow us on all the social media you see on screen. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, consider becoming a member. That's all I've got for you guys today. Be on the lookout for part 2 of this list, which should be coming sometime soon. With that said, remember the motto. It's Star Wars over everything, and I'll see you guys next time.